Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of this podcast. And today I actually wanted to talk to you guys about the truth about holding on to a breadcrumb king even when it hurts. Now, if you guys don't already know, a breadcrumb king is basically a man who keeps you stuck and you're left hoping that something will change within the dynamic between you two. That's basically the simplest way I can describe a breadcrumb king. Okay. Anyway, so this episode is going to be honest. It's going to be vulnerable. And it's going to hit deep, especially if you've waited on somebody who kept stringing you along. Sound familiar? Because today I'm talking about real life disadvantages of holding on to a breadcrumb king. Not just the mental fatigue or the emotional loops, but the moments that break you wide open. Like when he finds somebody else, or he gets someone else pregnant, or worse, they marry them. While you're sitting there waiting for him to choose you. This kind of reminds me of placeholder energy to you guys. And I might do not a reading, but a podcast episode about that too. But I say this with love, you guys, because I've been there, okay? I gave years of my life, my heart, my energy, my nervous system to somebody who was never really mine 100%. Someone who gave me crumbs, and I called it love. And of course, I've given you guys examples. If you haven't listened to my previous podcast, I talk about a couple people who I used to be involved with. One of them I used to date on and off for about 2 years. And then the other, well, you guys know my breadcrumb king, Taz. Well, we all know him. So that situation as well. So watch my previous podcast if you guys want to know more about that and that story. But anywho, so here's what happens when you stay too long, okay? When you stay in a dynamic where somebody is inconsistent, emotionally unavailable, or hot and cold, you start shrinking. You shrink your expectations. You shrink your standards. You shrink your joy just so that you can keep the peace with someone who isn't even showing up fully for you. You start making access. I'm sorry, not making access. I'm getting my words mixed up sometimes, you guys. You start mistaking access for intimacy. A text here, a call there, a few good days in between ghosting. And your nervous system starts chasing highs that never last. You get caught in the waiting room of love. And while you're waiting, you're postponing your life. Now, here's what a lot of people don't always say out loud. And this is in my terminology, right? But the truth is that breadcrumb kings don't always stay stuck. And what I mean is sometimes they do get serious. And sometimes they give you the full loaf to somebody else. And if you've ever been the one who's got strung along, only to find out that he's already suddenly with somebody new, placeholder. Sorry guys, had to do it. It's like getting the wind knocked out of your soul. And you may have these thoughts of, what's wrong with me? Why her and not me? Why did he waste my time only to give her the things I begged for? And if you've ever seen him marry somebody else, which, I know how that feels, you guys, because that's what I experienced personally, where I literally saw pictures of them getting married. Yeah, we all know how that feels, right? Or even not only that, they could get someone else pregnant while you're still holding on. And that cuts deeper than anyone knows. Because now it's not just about love. It's about the fact that your time, your loyalty, your hope was given to somebody who had no real intention of matching it. So here's the truth that will set you free and what you can learn from. It's not that he or she was better. It's that you were available for too little, too long. When someone knows that they don't have the rights to be in your life, they won't. They'll rest in the access you give them. They'll soak up your softness without ever becoming steady. They'll enjoy your loyalty without knowing that they haven't even earned it. And then one day they meet somebody who doesn't wait, someone who sets boundaries, someone who doesn't hope they require. And for some breadcrumb kings, that's the woman they will rise for. Not because she's more lovable, but because she expected more and stuck to it. That's what stings, but it also is where your power lives. So, as you guys already know, I kind of talked about a couple people, right? Where I had someone breadcrumb me for a long time, which, I mean, obviously I knew that I didn't have to deal with it. And of course, I had moments where I thought that, maybe that one day he would change, or one day he would choose me. But the reality was that he wasn't. And at that time, even though this was about 5 years ago now, like those moments where I felt like, oh my God, like, wow, we have such a deep connection. We talk all throughout the night, this, that, and the third. But he still eventually chose someone else and married someone else. And I thought things were great, but they really weren't. I just kept ignoring the red flags, basically, right? And, that pain of realizing how long I waited and thinking that things were going to get better when they really weren't, I lowered my standards for that outcome. And it cracked me open. But eventually, that pain became my fuel. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. That's a long story short. I mean, I've said this story. I feel like I repeated this story time and time again. But the whole point is just that, there's really no point of waiting on somebody that's not even giving you 100% of them. Okay. So, and it really does hurt, right? But this is what I need you to remember. You're not too much. You're not unworthy. You just love somebody who couldn't meet you at the level you deserve. And it's not your job to become more digestible for a man who isn't hungry for real love. Let this be your wake-up call. The longer you hold on to somebody who gives you crumbs, the more you block the love that wants to give you the full feast, which is so true, okay? So here's an affirmation and a journal prompt that I want to give you guys for today. And the affirmation is, I no longer abandon myself waiting for someone else to choose me. I am no longer available for emotional crumbs. And the journal prompt is, where am I still waiting on a version of someone that only existed in the beginning? What would it look like to finally release that version and choose myself instead? With that being said, this isn't about bitterness. It's about being honest about the cost of staying too long in love that doesn't feel safe, secure, or real. And if this episode spoke to you, if you're done asking, is he ever going to choose me? Then I suggest you start out with my free 7-day secure self journal. And also, because I'm recording this podcast episode earlier than usual, check out my 28-day decentering men journal, you guys. That's definitely going to help you shift into the version of yourself that is worthy and deserving of real, true love, and how to embody being that person that is deserving of it, okay? Because you'll also be taking actions, daily actions of being that person who deserves to be loved, that deserves to be chosen. And you're going to, most importantly, also be learning how to set boundaries for yourself and to stop settling for less, okay? Like, there's so much jam-packed stuff I have in there that's definitely going to help you guys. So check out the link in the description box below this video for more information on that, okay? So, the love you want is still possible, but it won't come while you're still sitting in someone else's shadow. Choose yourself and everything will rise to meet you. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I will see you guys in the next one.